Hello, my name is Janice Allen. I'm the Director of Land Protection for the North Carolina Coastal Land Trust. I wanted to take you on a quick tour of a very special place here in eastern North Carolina known as Island Creek. And the Coastal Land Trust recently acquired 247 acres within this special place called Island Creek. And one of the best ways to see our new preserve is to actually take a walk on the U.S. Forest Service's Island Creek Forest Walk Trail on the Croatan National Forest. So let's go take a look. So what's so special about this area called Island Creek? One of the things that is special is the forest itself and the big trees. I'm standing here right next to a large tulip poplar, and this tulip poplar is huge. It's probably over 100 feet tall, and it's one of the many hardwood trees that are out here. The North Carolina Natural Heritage Program calls this type of forest a basic forest, and that is a technical term for a forest comprised mostly of hardwood trees on soils that are basic, which means they are high in pH, have a high pH level. And the different tree species that you can find out in this forest here at Island Creek include American beech, different oak species like shoe-marred oak, white oak. You can find bitternut hickory, tulip poplar, some loblolly pine trees, and we'll be taking a look at some of those as we go on this walk. I just wanted to point out some of the mid-story trees that you find at Island Creek. One that is very interesting is this umbrella magnolia that you see right here. It's a very interesting tree. Some of the other mid-story trees might be flowering dogwood, silky camellia, witch hazel, hop hornbeam, and we'll be taking a look at those too as we walk through. I'm standing at the edge of Island Creek, which is what we call a blackwater stream because its headwaters are in a swamp, and so it's draining a lot of vegetation, which has tannic acids and makes the creek this very dark tea color stain. And Island Creek is flowing north. It joins the Trent River near New Bern, and it's part of the Neuse River watershed. Look closely right across the stream. You can see outcroppings of marl right along the creek. And marl is a mixture of clay and limestone, and it contains fossilized seashells. And this marl apparently is all along this Island Creek track and along the creek itself. In fact, this area has the largest outcropping of marl anywhere in the state. And this in particular is what makes this site so special. This marl, when it weathers or erodes, creates that higher pH in the soil, and being a higher pH, it makes the soil richer, and it lends itself to a high diversity of plants that we find here at Island Creek. Well, I mentioned that Island Creek has got a rich diversity of plant life. It also has quite a few breeding bird species that are here now. I've heard a Louisiana water thrush. We heard a wood thrush when we came in. There's black and white warblers, northern parula warblers. Also heard an ovenbird. Just a lot of different breeding birds that come to Island Creek. The other thing important about this site for birds is during migration. Because of the tall trees, these trees serve as like bug magnets. And when these birds are migrating, this is a great stopover because they're trying to get food to refuel during their migration. If you think of yourself going on a long road trip, you like to stop and get food quick, like at a fast food place. Well, you can think of these big trees as almost like fast food stopovers for these migratory birds. I think we have made quite a find here in the forest. I think this is Silky Camellia, which is a very beautiful shrub, small tree at Island Creek. A UNC Chapel Hill student did a botanical inventory of this Island Creek area back in the 1960s. And at that time, that student tallied over 600 different plant species here in this Island Creek region. And the interesting thing, aside from the sheer numbers of plants that he found, was that over 50% of those plants more typically were found in the Piedmont or mountains and not on the coastal plain. And so that's a little bit strange to have so many disjunct species here. While it's interesting to maybe have one or two, having so many is very different. And I think, again, it comes down to geology. Again, due to that marl and limestone outcroppings in the basic soils. I just wanted to point out one little interesting plant that likes these rich soils, and that's called Bloodroot, right here. And again, this plant in particular, thrives on these limestone type soils. And this one we don't want to eat because it's highly poisonous to people. Well, a lot of us have been locked indoors for quite a time during this COVID-19 pandemic, and I know many of you are looking for opportunities to get out and get some exercise. Coming out to the Croatan's Island Creek Forest Walk is a great way to hike a good, nice trail, and you can then appreciate the Coastal Land Trust's newest acquisition of the Island Creek Tract, which you'll be looking at as you hike this trail. And just imagine if this property was purchased and cleared for timbering or even for development, what you would be looking at. So it's really thanks to the Coastal Land Trust for protecting this amazing and special place. And you don't have to be into the geology that makes it special or the tremendous number of birds that are here. You can just be enjoying the big old trees and getting some exercise and relaxation in the woods. Thanks.